here's a question nobody seems to ask. We talk endlessly about how ancient humans hunted, how they built shelters, and how they migrated across continents. Entire academic careers are built on reconstructing their tools and their social structures. And yet, we rarely stop to look at the most hauntingly human moment in the entire archaeological record. The moment we stopped walking away. For the vast majority of our evolutionary history, we were just another primate on the savannah. When a member of the group died, the biological factory setting was simple. You move on. But then, something shifted. We didn't just leave the body to the elements. We stayed. We dug. We grieved. This is the story of how ancient humans learned to say goodbye, and why the first grave ever dug was the moment we truly became human. Before we get into the rituals, we need to understand the world our ancestors were living in. For hundreds of thousands of years, a nomadic lifestyle turned humans into ultimate endurance machines. Our ancestors were constantly on the move, meaning that things like waste and biological reality were handled by simple distance and time. In this world, cleanliness was functional, not moral. You removed dirt because it attracted parasites. You moved camp because staying in one place for too long was a death sentence for public health. For a long time, death was likely treated with the same pragmatic detachment. But humans are not just industrial appliances built for running. We are, at our core, the most social animals to ever walk the earth. Our survival depended on mutual grooming and care, behaviors that serve both hygiene and deep emotional bonding. When a member of the group died, it wasn't just the loss of a hunter or a gatherer. It was a rupture in the living fabric of the community. The same brain that developed a need for constant mutual support and close contact simply couldn't handle the sudden, deafening silence where a loved one had stood just yesterday. Archaeologists have found evidence of deliberate burials across the globe. In Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Americas. And these aren't just bodies thrown into a hole. They are the fingerprints of human love and grief, pressed into the earth. Think about the sheer effort required. In a world without shovels, digging a grave is a massive expenditure of energy. Why do it? The answer likely lies at the intersection of harsh pragmatism and awakening mysticism. Granted, burial may have initially begun as a functional necessity, a way to protect the camp from predators and disease. But then, something incredible happens. We start seeing grave goods. Our ancestors began applying a kind of magical chemistry to death. We find skeletons completely covered in red ochre, a symbol of blood and life, buried alongside meticulously carved combs made of bone and mammoth ivory. They were clearly preparing the dead for something. They were packing the body for a journey. They were essentially trying to build a bridge between earthly life and whatever came next. There is a reason we still use the metaphor of rest for the dead. The ancient Greeks even had twin gods for it, Hypnos for sleep and Thanatos for death. This wasn't just a poetic flourish. It was a recognition of a nightly suspension of the self that every human experiences. Every night, you vanish for a few hours. You go through a cascading series of overlapping processes that shut down your awareness and dismantle your memory. You experience hypnagogic hallucinations, geometric light shows, and phantom sounds. And then, cut to black. Our ancestors noticed this acutely. For a long time, humanity lived in a cycle of segmented sleep. People would wake up in the middle of the night to tend the fire, talk, pray, or reflect on their dreams before drifting back down. To them, the line between conscious and unconscious was a gate that opened and closed every single night. When someone died, they weren't just gone forever. They were stuck in the first sleep. The burial ritual was a way of guiding the person across that wakeful island between life and the second sleep of eternity. They buried the dead in positions that mirrored how they lived. Sometimes they were folded into the active rest of a deep squat, a posture so central to their daily lives that it literally reshaped their skeletons over the years. Other times, They were propped up, reclining against earth embankments, mirroring the postures the living used for safety and status around the campfire. So, why did evolution allow us to spend so much time and energy on the dead? Why didn't we just keep moving, like chimpanzees? It comes back to the keystone of the human design. Just as the unique qualities of our skin allowed us to sweat efficiently, which gave us endurance, which in turn allowed for a bigger brain, grief was the byproduct of the very thing that made us successful: extreme cooperation. We are a species that sleeps in a natural sentinel system. Our group is never fully unconscious at once because we are genetically wired to guard one another. And that protective instinct doesn't just flip a switch and turn off the moment a heart stops. Burial rituals were our first rebellion against pure biology. They were the moment we decided that a human being was more than just slow meat for predators. By staying to dig that grave, we were saying that the subjective thread of consciousness mattered, even after it was broken. The next time you attend a funeral or stand by a grave, realize that you are participating in a tradition that genuinely connects the ages. You are doing exactly what your distant ancestor 1,000 generations ago did, by a fire, 40,000 years ago. We didn't invent the goodbye because we were more technologically advanced. We invented it because we were too deeply connected to let go. We took a historically unique experiment, the belief that a person's story continues after their body stops, and we turned it into the foundation of every culture on Earth. The original human story was written in sweat and the struggle for survival, but its defining chapter will always be written in the silence of a dug grave. Stay curious. I'll see you in the next video.